starts now.
Firefighters in the Guadalupe Mountains area of Lincoln National Park continue to battle the wildfire, which has consumed more than 4,000 acres of land.
CBS 7's Christopher Saul spent the day with those firefighters near the front lines of the fire. He joins us live from Lincoln National Forest. Christopher, how did the fire start?
Jay, Alexis, you can probably hear right now, it's incredibly windy in the Lincoln National Forest right now. If you combine that wind with humidity index, you have a recipe for disaster. I talked to firefighters on the ground and they say it's hard enough to fight this fire alone. They don't have any air support at all because of those high winds. Now, about 4,000 acres were burned as of this morning, and we expect that number to go up tonight. For now, live in the park, Christopher Saul, CBS 7 News.
Craig, thanks very much. We're continuing to follow breaking news tonight in the Guadalupe Mountains, where a wildfire is still burning at this hour. Take a look at this picture. Fire crews from the New Mexico and National Park Service, as well as local volunteers, decided to dig bulldozer lines in an attempt to stop the fire from moving north.
But high winds have allowed that fire to spread. This morning, the damage was about 4,100 acres. The Park Service closed Dog Canyon, Blue Ridge Trail, Marcus Trail, Bush Mountain, and the Tejas Trail, along with Kittrick Ridge.
Those firefighters in the Guadalupe Mountains area of Lincoln National Park continue to fight the wildfire at this hour.
CBS 7's Christopher Saul has been following the story closely and spent the day with firefighters today near the front lines in Queen, New Mexico. He joins us live from the Lincoln National Forest. Christopher, how did this fire start?
Lightning sparked dry foliage in the area just like this, and it started this wildfire. Now, the heavy winds in the area today have made aerial water drops all but impossible. Volunteer firefighters gather at the station in New Mexico. They organize supplies and prepare the trucks for state and national park fire personnel. Chief Albert Hobbs leads the men.
All they have to do is show up and we send them out.
Hobbs has led the volunteers for the last 2 years. Without them, could you take care of fires like the one we have right now?
Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
While the local fire department prepares an overnight shelter for firefighters, we tried to get as close to the scene as possible. We're still about 3 miles away from the Dog Canyon campground, but this is as close as we can get to this fire. Now you can see the smoke hugging the ground in the distance. That's because of the high winds that you can probably hear right now. It's also what makes this fire so dangerous. Gusts of more than 30 miles an hour fan the flames. Just 15 minutes after leaving, we turn around and see the fire moving quickly with the help of the wind.
Fires can move more rapidly than you suspect that they can.
Linda is with the New Mexico State Park Service. She says nearby residents can help prevent these fires from growing.
People that have land need to be proactive in their defensible spaces.
But as the fire grows, hindsight is as clear as the smoke is thick. Officials in the state of New Mexico have called in a level 2 fire accountability, which means this fire continues to grow. Live in Eddy County, Christopher Saul, CBS 7 News.
Christopher, thanks. Over the weekend, a combination of lightning, dry vegetation, and warm temperatures led to a wildfire in Jeff Davis.
Spent all day trying to extinguish wildfires close to the Lincoln National Park.
The fire still rages tonight and will burn on throughout the evening, having consumed more than 4,000 acres of land. CBS 7's Christopher Saul has talked to park officials about the conditions in the park.
Tonight, he is in Carlsbad, where he joins us live. Christopher, what's the latest with the fire?
The wind has died down Jay Tatum, the wind has died down just a little bit, but earlier today it was so heavy and hard that they couldn't get a helicopter in the sky even to take pictures of this fire. Now, the volunteer crews are on the ground trying to head off the blaze on the north side of this fire. They're
All right, we apologize there. We're having some difficulties there. We'll try to get back to Chris. All we can tell you is about 4,500 acres burning so far. Officials and joins us now live in Carlsbad. Christopher?
Jay Tatum, as I was saying earlier, the winds are calmer now, but they were a lot stronger earlier in the day. So strong, in fact, that a helicopter couldn't even get in the air to take pictures of this wildfire. Now back on the ground, firefighters have been fighting this blaze, especially on the fire's north side, which has been a consistent problem. They're trying to run this fire out of fuel on the ground. They say that the planes that they have in waiting could have helped. The only problem is, of course, that wind that has been making so much trouble for these firefighters.
They can't get the planes up in the air right now because of the winds, and it's starting to spot, so it's making it more dangerous. So they will try to they're using dozers and they're burning out fuels right now.
The last report by the National Park Service says that 4,500 acres have been burned. We expect that more will be burned in the morning. For now, live in Carlsbad, Christopher Saul, CBS 7 News.
Wildfire that sparked at Guadalupe National Park to spread. We've learned that more than 4,100 acres of land has burned and that Park Services has closed down several of its trails. CBS 7's Christopher Saul is live at the scene. Christopher, is the fire still spreading at this moment?
Krista, they have been fighting this fire for several days now, and they're really hoping for lower winds today. Winds have played a huge factor in this battle to keep this wildfire under control. The last several days have centered around the north ridge of the fire, just inside Lincoln National Forest, and they've been trying to cut that thing off at the pass and get rid of all of the potential fuel that could use to continue this fire into New Mexico. They've been fighting it and hope that this lower wind will provide them with two things. First of all, it'll help stop that rapid move of the fire, and secondly, they can get planes and choppers in the air to drop water on top of this fire and hopefully douse it as quickly as possible. But that depends on just how heavy the winds are today. For now, live in Lincoln National Forest, Christopher Saul, CBS 7 News.
Christopher, thank you so much for that report. Meanwhile, a wildfire that continues to burn in the region of Fort McMurray.
Not. Absolutely not.
CBS 7's Christopher Saul joins us live from Queens, New Mexico. Christopher, I know you've been following the story closely. Are firefighters still trying to fight the wildfire at Lincoln National Park this morning?
Krista, what we know right now is that the fire actually increased about 500 acres between dawn yesterday and evening time yesterday. They say that the fire has continued to spread to the north. Of course, they're trying to fight it, but what's going to be really critical in this fight to bring down this wildfire is going to be the wind speeds. They're praying for lower wind speeds today so that they can get those firefighting planes in the air, get choppers in the air, and hopefully slow down the spread of this fire. But it's all going to depend on how fast the wind is moving today. For now, live in Carlsbad, Christopher Saul, CBS 7 News.
Christopher, thank you very much. We have an in-depth report for you. A local mother is on a mission to keep a convicted murderer behind bars nearly 25 years after her daughter.
Parks in New Mexico, more than 160 professional firefighters continue to stall the fire with trenches. CBS 7's Christopher Saul spent the morning with the hotshot crews as they prepared to roll out and spend their day quenching these fires. Christopher, has the fire grown?
Kira, this fire grew almost 1,000 acres just overnight. Now we know that on Saturday, this fire was sparked by lightning in the area, but because of these high winds as well, the expanding fire and X-rail personnel called in. The National Park Service is telling me that they've upgraded the severity of this fire to a Type 2. I spoke to the superintendent of the Guadalupe National Park, and he says that although this fire has expanded, it has in fact slowed down its expansion, and it's moving to the east, which is not occupied by a lot of people or private land, which he says is a good thing. They also hope that with the less amount of wind that they'll be able to get a helicopter in the air today. For now, live in Carlsbad, Christopher Saul, CBS 7 News.
Yet in the valleys near the blaze.
Alexa, I spoke to the superintendent of the Guadalupe National Park earlier today. He told me he's expecting lighter winds today and tomorrow. That's a big deal for those hotshot crews on the fire line to the west of my location right now. They've been fighting this whole battle without air support, and flame retardant would be a big help at this moment. Now they're trying to get this fire to move eastwards away from populated areas and into a more barren piece of New Mexico where there isn't a lot of fuel for this fire to burn. For now, live in Carlsbad, Christopher Saul, CBS 7 News.
Thanks, Christopher. Uber could be returning to the Tall City
Headquarters today. He's learning that the burning may not be such a bad thing. He's live in Eddy County with the latest.
Hey Tatum, this may sound a little bit wild. I know it did to me at first. Let's see if I can explain it. It works a lot like a controlled burn. It gets rid of all of that dead grass and those dead trees that could build up over time and cause an even bigger fire. And the superintendent of the park says it's a good thing.
When you get a lightning strike, which is perfectly normal, then we get a big burnout, big fire. So that's what we're trying to avoid.
Now we just got the latest numbers in from the National Park Service. Now it's a total of 8,000 acres have been burned by this fire, another 3,000 acres just today. Live in Carlsbad, Christopher Saul, CBS 7 News.
Emergency crews were able to get one of their planes into the air, a promising start to attacking this wildfire from above.
CBS 7's Christopher Saul is live tracking firefighters' efforts. He joins us live. Christopher.
But if you look over in the distance, you can see smoke that's coming from the Coyote wildfire nearly 50 miles away. Smoke and flames moved quickly yesterday because of high winds. It's day 4 of this fire, and last night was the first time the airplanes maintained at this airport were able to get a look at the fire from above because of the heavy winds.
You ready? Not yet. Let me check.
Early this morning, hotshot teams from Silver City, Yosemite, and Zuni planned and prepared for another day on the front lines of this fire.
You see everybody, all types of Americans from all parts, literally from Florida to Alaska, speaking several languages.
The worn patches on E.T. Collinsworth's shirt testify for his more than 2 decades of experience as a wildfire EMT.
For the guys and gals, right, this is my medic bag.
The grizzled veteran has served on fire crews as far away as Montana. He arrived from his home near the New Mexico-Arizona border last night.
Great macho fun, it pays well, right, and I feel I'm helping those in the business, and I feel like I'm being a responsible citizen.
After a quick meeting, he grabs his gear and heads for danger with almost 200 brothers at his side, meaning the water and Gatorade for various fire personnel piled high just yesterday in the Queen VFD headquarters will soon need restocking. In Carlsbad, Christopher Saul, CBS 7 News.